Welcome, Marvelites, and welcome to an all-new episode of the MCUExchange podcast. This is episode 26. Woo! My name is Aaron. I'll be your host for this episode. Alongside me is Joe
Hello.
and Charles.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are staying safe. We have a lot of MCU news to run down here. Let's start with the first one on the MCU rundown. First up is pretty much good news for WandaVision fans because apparently WandaVision will have at least 9 episodes. Pretty surprising. Lizzie Hill of Murphy's Multiverse has made another discovery that WandaVision will have not just 6 episodes, but at least 9, if the resume of a stunt person on the show is to be believed. According to that resume, ND Stunts, he has a role under ND Stunts, and then in the television side, he has EP.109, which means in TV series, it's season 1, episode 9. Charles, do you think that WandaVision having 9 episodes is a good thing or a bad thing, rather than the usual 6 episodes that was
Ooh.
recently announced?
It's very interesting that it has 9 episodes because all the other shows have 6 episodes, and for me, it's telling that Kevin Feige and his team want to tell the story they want with WandaVision. They want it to be 9 episodes. You'd think that they'd move it to 10 because if they have 10 episodes, that means obviously more subscribers stick with the Disney Plus. But they seem very confident with the 9 episode count with this, and 9 episodes is such a weird number because you think that they'd also
Mm.
round it up to 10 just to make it an even episode. But yeah, 9 episodes. It's like the Watchmen episode or Watchmen season where they just had
Mhm.
9 instead of 10 because they wanted to tell the story in nine specific episodes. So yeah, it's very very exciting, and I just like the idea that you know the Disney Plus shows aren't subscribing to the generic, basic, rigid, network format of having, oh, you have to tell 22 episodes with Netflix. Oh, you have to have 13 episodes no matter what. So you
Mm.
guys got to
Yeah.
find a way to fit. And this format is way better. It's way more fluid, and it's only going to lead to better storytelling.
All right. 9 episodes is always a welcome sight for MCU fans. Just raring for more MCU content in the past few months. Joe, how about you? Do you think that with WandaVision having 9 episodes, do you think that the length of each episodes will vary from time to time? Because it's been confirmed that they will have a sitcom type episode. If the sitcom time episodes will include the 20+ minute runtime of the usual sitcoms, it will have an effect on the overall story, right?
I thought a similar thing that they might go for a direction to have a sitcom format. Question is to me in general is like if you look at The Mandalorian, one episode can be 40 minutes long, one episode is 28 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
I think you could just that variety is something that showcases they can really focus on the pacing because even Netflix pretty much had okay, you have between 40 to an hour, go within that timeline. So they still kind of had some elements, especially with the 13 episode structure from the deal. They were still kind of forced to be within that. And I think Disney Plus, because it's in Disney hands, it is pretty much up to Marvel Studios to tell the story they want to. They are way more free to do however they want to do it. And I think that's, just like Charles said, an exciting prospect because that takes away a lot of restrictions but opens up new possibilities. Will they go for a format that is like a comedy show, an old-timey show? Will they change the episode length depending on the era that they're in?
Yeah.
For example, will we also see the changes of how TV sitcoms have changed over the years in more than just aesthetic? So it's a fun prospect, especially with this show. And I do hope that this means that they will also look at the other shows and say, oh, hey, you know what, this needs 7, 8, maybe only 5 episodes. That gives them more flexibility and at the same time, the focus on the story at hand.
Of course, previously, Anthony Mackie of the Falcon and Winter Soldier mentioned that these Disney Plus shows are like 6-8 hour MCU movies. So if WandaVision has 9 episodes, so it's like a 9-hour MCU movie. That's a welcome news for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah, and also like the idea, like Aaron mentioned that what if a sitcom episode here in WandaVision is 20 minutes long? Then
Mhm.
that's absolutely perfect because it's gonna leave you wanting more. Like the sitcom
Yeah.
episode ends kind of like holy shit, it's hit. Then you're glad that it has 9 episodes instead of like 6. So it's very interesting how they're, I guess, stretching it, quote unquote. But yeah, it's all gonna be super fun to see once it's done.
It's gonna be fun to explore because WandaVision is one of the first two Disney Plus MCU series, and we're pretty much wanting that more content side of the MCU, and pretty much excited to what lies ahead in the future. Don't know yet if it's still December, so who knows? It might
Mm.
get moved, but let's hope it. Let's hope if it will premiere this year. All
Well,
right,
just imagine we're supposed to get next month Falcon the Winter Soldier, supposedly.
yeah, and
Wonk,
the
wonk.
next news will just we'll just confirm that it will be delayed.
Yeah.
Okay, going on to the next news, we have a jam-packed production news here for the next MCU properties in Phase 4. Okay, I'm gonna break it down to you for all in all. First up, for the Loki Disney Plus series, it's been rumored to resume production next month at Atlanta, this August. They're currently having pre-production this month, July. And also for Falcon the Winter Soldier, they will have 9 more days of shooting in the Czech Republic in the fall. So in the fall, which means it will start from September to December, in between those days. So it means that presumably the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's premiere for August will definitely be delayed. And the last bit on
Mm.
that news is Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings, will resume production by the end of this month, this July, after Comic-Con. So pretty much exciting news. The fact that they're all getting to resume. Joe, do you think that with these MCU properties coming back for filming, do you think that there's a chance that they can be delayed again in terms of production, not with the release dates yet, in terms of production due to the recent
Mm.
spike of COVID cases worldwide?
That's a good question because we don't know how the productions in general are going to be handled. Because because they say okay, social distancing, and there's going to be new limitations or aspects they have to consider. So the question is that a normal 5-day shoot or 6-day shoot, will that then become a 10-day, 12-day shoot? Because they can't get a lot of extras. You can't have a group of people running behind them in any way or running around them. You can only do shots that involve a limited amount of people, and that's where the question comes for me is like, this is also Disney's and Marvel's first time testing out these new limitations.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they will extend it as much as they can. Plus, the question is the risk of them flying to Europe. The cases in the United States aren't getting better. Will they be able to fly back?
Yeah, that's the thing.
What will happen then as well? So it's a very difficult scenario. And I mean, for now, it's just they're planning to do it. It's hard to say if they will truly be able to fall through on it for now.
It's really hard to say. There are different protocols, different guidelines that are being rendered out, but
Mm.
it's not yet being implemented on hand, like at the production itself. So
Yeah.
with this, next month, I mean this month, it's July already. So Jurassic World Dominion, it's one of the first major productions that will resume in the UK. So
Yeah.
Charles, my question for you is, do you think that with all these protocols, all these guidelines, do you think that there will still be production leaks like from before? Set photos being taken by fans. Do you think that it's still
Ah,
possible? That there are strict protocols now.
well, that's a very good question. I've never encountered this question regarding this. I think because it's not like you can walk down the street while they're filming. It's not gonna be as
Yeah.
easy as that as it was before because I'm pretty sure wherever they film, if they do begin filming, security will be tighter as not to let possible infected people
Mm-hmm.
in the perimeter. So yeah, that's a very good question. I think it's gonna be a lot harder for us to see set videos, set photos, and whatnot because there's gonna be a tighter security for sure. Yeah, I think yeah,
Mm.
it's good to rule out that we're not gonna see shit at this point.
Yeah, because sometime before this Corona pandemic began, almost every day we are seeing leaked set videos, set photos from these productions, not just from the MCU, but also from Star Wars, from DC, from everything. It's pretty interesting that you pointed that out. All right. Speaking of set videos, guys, this is a good transition to our next news. um, we have set videos from before, from before the pandemic, from one of the hit Disney Plus shows that are about to arrive for the MCU umbrella. In the new release from Scooper Charles Murphy on Murphy's Multiverse, five new set videos have been released online with just under 2 minutes of footage from the set of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The videos reveal some action shots featuring Sebastian Stan's, Bucky Barnes, and White Russell's U.S. agent in what is believed to be a hostage situation at New York's G20 summit in the year 2023. Both stars are putting in their action and combat work against both SWAT and an unknown female villain possibly associated with the Grapplers. And it's pretty interesting. If you watch that five videos, you can get much context on what's happening under the set. Charles, my question for you is, do you, based on the video, it's clear that Bucky and the U.S. agent has an alliance. Do you think that this alliance will, it's just one time, or do you think that it will
Well,
continue on after more episodes? Yeah, I have no context on that.
I hope it becomes sort of maybe like I don't want to say a rivalry because it's not for Bucky to be the rival of U.S. Agent. It's for Sam.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I hope that I hope there's a scene where I guess Sam questions, or maybe U.S. Agent questions Bucky on, hey, what's it like to be to be the right hand man of the real deal, Steve Rogers. I hope there's a bit of friction towards that. Um, maybe because we know U.S. Agent is gonna have like a sidekick himself. That's sort of his own version of
Mm-hmm.
Bucky.
Yeah.
Maybe there's sort of a resentment there where maybe U.S. Agent hates Bucky because like I said he actually got to be with the original Captain America. So I hope there's a bit of a fun um, antagonistic sort of dynamic there because it's very ripe for some interactions like the one I'm talking about. It's certainly gonna make that legacy of Captain America a lot deeper than
Mm.
we expect.
Those set videos mean a lot, for Falcon and the Winter Soldier fans. Joe, my question for you is: in universe, in previous interviews, Anthony Mackie, sorry, Anthony Mackie mentioned that Bucky and Sam are not really friends yet. They're just
Mm.
colleagues. They're just acquaintance
Frenemies.
or some sort, frenemies. Yeah, just that. Do you think? I have an in-universe question for you. Do you think that if Sam knows about this, this sort of alliance between U.S. Agent and Bucky, do you think that it will have an effect with the dynamic between Bucky and Sam?
I don't know. I don't see like Sam as a character isn't the kind of person to take those kind of things personally. And this is just my interpretation. I kind of would think he's in on it. Maybe it's like some kind of thing to find out what exactly the government's hiding. I do think it's maybe because there's also like there's a thing is that we have rumors that a U.S. agent works with them. Then you have the rumor that Zemo's working with them. So either we don't know who the real villain is of this show, uh,
Yeah.
or there's just a lot of like double agents. Because that's I kind of think the great thing about Winter Soldier staying Winter Soldier is that he is still a spy. He's pretty much a remnant of Shield, or Hydra rather, and I don't think he lost his memories of what he did, his what he was taught. So I think he's really good at playing people. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if we get a distrust moment between Sam and Bucky that is then turned on its head, or that they're both playing a long con. There's a lot of potential here, and that's what I think is really exciting about this concept because they did get along, but they fought a lot. It was pretty much one of the best things in my opinion of Civil War is just their banter with each other. So it's interesting to see how that brings them or how far they've come because Bucky accepted that Sam would get the shield.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no ill will in that regard. So that's I think really interesting.
Yeah, and I hope that dynamic will be further explored in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier for sure. And of course, it's not going to go out. It's not going to be released on August. And I hope there will be an announcement of sorts, maybe in the Comic Con this coming weeks, the next 2 weeks. And I hope that the Marvel Studios will have a clear release date for both Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision in the coming weeks. All right. Next up, last entry on our rundown for the MCU is big news, big Black Widow news, because it's been confirmed this week that there will be at least 2 new trailers for Black Widow. Based on a listing from the British Board of Film Classification, the first trailer is around 2 minutes and 38 seconds, while the second trailer is around 1 minute or 44 seconds. Joe, I recalled a few episodes back. We've been talking about Black Widow, Black Widow's release date. You mentioned that, and we talked about, is there going to be a new trailer before November? And you mentioned that I hope not, because they've shown so much already.
Called me out.
Do you still have the same? Do you still have the same stance right now after knowing this news?
I'll say I hope it's not a lot of new footage.
Yeah.
That's something I think I hang on to.
What do you hope to see? What do you hope to see? Like as only a snippet, only a glimpse of like 2 or more scenes of new footage?
Yeah, I kind of think they should play up the Taskmaster secret a bit more. Keep that mystery is kind of something they were banking on in the last trailer they released on who is that guy. I think if they tease that a bit without being too revealing, maybe throw in some red herrings like they've done before, just kind of distract us from who we might really be. I think that would be an exciting. I mean, in the end, I work in advertising. You need to advertise. Even if hardcore fans know exactly when it releases, even with the delays, the audience does not. The general audience is not informed. They'll not go out of the way to find out. So you're going to need to make trailers and TV spots and everything. And the problem, of course, is that this probably will double their marketing budget. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Black Widow to perform well to bring that money back. And I'm curious as how they're going to handle it because, they were ready. They had everything out there to release this film. So it's good that we're getting new trailers in a way that they can re-energize it, but we don't know when cinemas will open, especially in the US, their biggest market. Yeah. So rather they wait for it until they know something more, because right now Tenet's just being shoved out on a monthly basis.
All right, Charles, how about you? What are your initial thoughts when you first saw this news that there are 2 new trailers for Black Widow, and also if it's going to be released, when do you think it will release?
My initial reaction is more like, because let's get real. These trailers really aren't for us because we always talk about, I don't want to see anything new. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Well, at the end of the day, it's not for us. It's really more for the people who are not in the loop that, oh yeah, I forgot there was a Black Widow movie coming. Oh yeah, that's a cool trailer. It's a different kind of trailer now. So it's really not for us. It's like, I'm with you with that. I don't want to see fucking anything else. I don't want to see any Taskmaster shit because it's something that we know we're gonna fucking fall in line for when it does come out. But it's really more for the general audience. As for when it's coming out, well, I wish it comes out this week so we have something to talk about next episode.
Marvel, we need more trailers per week. We need to discuss things.
Yeah, Marvel Studios has been really quiet, guys. Have you noticed that in the past few weeks?
Yeah.
Really, really quiet in terms of new content.
DC. Especially with DC, like, pushing things out. Gaming, just a lot of news.
Unrelated, do you think that Marvel Studios will have a con of their own? Because, we know DC is doing their own thing in DC fandom. Do you think that Marvel Studios is planning something behind the scenes? Charles? Joe?
I don't know. The thing is my guess would be is that Disney does something like a D23 digital event to kind of have their own thing and just throw everything together. I think there wasn't much announced for San Diego Comic-Con online, if I remember correctly, so they've been very quiet on that. I hope so. I think it's a great time right now to kind of test the waters on these concepts. But it's really hard to say. So I would hope so. I always thought Marvel should have their own little thing. I still think one of the biggest highlights was their Phase 3 reveal event that they held. That became as part of San Diego Comic-Con for Phase 4. So I do hope we get something to kind of tease a roadmap or something, just to say this is where we're heading. Maybe tease a big bad or something, because right now we have nothing. We have absolutely nothing.
I like to think that if they had something planned, they would have announced it by now. Especially, just to sort of one up DC with all the good stuff we've been
Mhm.
here. We're gonna see Snyder Cut. We're gonna see the first look at Robert Pattinson's Batman. Maybe we get a Black Adam announcement. There's so much that DC
Mhm.
is flexing that if Marvel was planning to do anything, you'd think that they would have announced it by now. But it's just so quiet. I think at this point, you know, not to pick on DC, but DC has always sort of prided themselves on announcements rather than just following through with these announcements because we've heard so many announcements from DC for the past 5 years, and a lot of them haven't even been greenlit, or at least a lot of them haven't been you know uh, finished or completed. But
Yeah.
at this point, I think Marvel just wants to finish their shit. They want to
Mm.
deliver the thing they promised last year, and I think that's really priority number one. So if they don't announce any MCU event for the fans, I'm fine with that. I just want them to finish what they're busy with now.
Yeah, totally agree. In a way, in a symbolic way, a release of a Black Widow trailer could potentially kick off things for Marvel Studios because technically Black Widow is the first entry in the Phase 4. So by releasing a new trailer, who knows? It's the proper way to get the ball rolling for the MCU. Like, what
Mhm.
after Black Widow trailer, maybe we can see an Eternals trailer. Who knows? Nevertheless, you know, any this Black Widow trailer will be a major talking point, not just for us, but also amongst everyone, every MCU fan, even the less seasoned superhero fans out there. All right, let's now move on to my favorite segment. We're going about to the Shield season pass. We are talking about season 7, episode 6, Adapt or Die. My God, this episode has caught me off guard. All right, Joe. Because there's so many
Yeah.
surprises, so many cliffhangers, so many twists, and spoiler alert, Coulson died again. Anyway, I will break that down later. So those are most of my initial thoughts. So recap: the team is already in 1976. At Daisy and Sosa have been kidnapped by Nathaniel Malik, who's apparently alive after that, and then Coulson and May have been what did it, jailed sort of by Rick Stoner. It's pretty weird that his name's Stoner
Mm.
right now.
Well, I love the joke they threw in. It was like, you think a guy named Stoner would be a bit more fun.
Yeah, apparently he's not. What is your initial thoughts here, Joe, for this episode?
Great episode. Very. So the thing is that what I think Agents of Shield can do very well is switch between a fun, lighthearted episode between a very heavy episode, and this
Yeah,
was definitely one of the heavier ones. The general, I like the three plot lines. I like the callbacks. Poor Daisy going through what Ji I hope I didn't say that wrong. Went
that's
through
correct.
back in her day with Malik's son. Crazy. So in that, actually, I think I really like what they're doing with Sousa. Never thought I wanted to see Sousa part of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. team. I'm really happy we're getting more from him. The actor, I think, is really good at playing this rough and tough 1930s, 1920s guy in the modern era. He's doing a fantastic job. And yeah, a lot of dark twists and turns. Gotta say, they're not holding back in their last season.
Agent Coulson, Clark Gregg, he died again for the
It is his
sixth time.
superpower.
For the sixth time. It's funny because they're actually talking about it. Him and May,
Mm.
moments before his death, he's actually talking about, I don't feel anything. I don't feel emotion. I've been dying all this time, and then boof, he died again. I honestly didn't saw it coming.
I thought it was. I remember that clip came online earlier, and I thought that was like a tease for the final episode. So that's what
Yeah,
it kind of felt like, that we're building up to, okay, he's gonna die one last time or something. But it kind of shows that even though he's Coulson through and through, and he's just as reckless as he always was, just now he's like,
yeah.
I'll come back. Boom.
He always comes back. And I saw the preview of the next episode. And he is there. Well, in the monitor
Yeah.
screen. The preview. Technically, he's back again. After dying 6 times. Oh my God, you're right. I mean, the episode's right that it is his superpower to die and then come back after dying.
I'm really curious where they're gonna go with this, and it's kind of funny because it's the only show that this show makes fun of the whole characters keep dying but coming back cliche, and it pulled it off like more and more with each season. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and centered on one character, Coulson.
Yeah, the one we resurrected as fans, so it's fitting.
Yeah. And after that episode, I scoured through Twitter, Joe, and there it is, the hashtag again, Coulson lives. It's like it's there. When I search for it, many people are trying to get him to be alive again.
I'm curious if that hashtag's gonna trend again once the show ends.
Yeah.
So he returns to the MCU with Disney Plus shows and stuff like that. I'm very curious.
Yeah, there's upcoming Sword show. Maybe he will be there. I don't know, maybe a Skrull version of it. But Agent Coulson has been a beloved character in the MCU ever since.
Yep.
So who knows if he will be resurrected? I have a theory, Joe. I have a theory.
Okay.
That since the timeline is fucked up, it's messed up, and Fitz is nowhere to be seen after 6 episodes. Come on, ABC. Come on, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He has literally 7 episodes left. We're in the mid-season, sort of. I mean, yes, we're in the mid-season. This is episode 6, and I hope that he gets to show up after 7 this week. I want to see him. And I have a theory. Going back on my theory, the timeline is messed up. The timeline is fucked up. So I have a theory that Fitz somehow fixes everything. And then, LMD Coulson will return in a way, sort of. Going back to the date when the Chronicoms tried to help Hydra and then stopping that from ever happening, then poof, it all gets back to normal. At the expense of Souza, though. That was before.
I've been Coulson's definitely gonna be back in a body or some sort. I wouldn't be surprised if they created a spare just in case.
Yeah.
So what we see from spoilers, what we see from the preview for the next episode, while he blew up, a part of him is kind of trapped in the system of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
So my guess is that they're pretty much going to upload him out of that system and put him back in his body. That's my main theory, and I'm slowly getting to the point where I think this season will go full circle with Coulson dying. And I think the last episodes will be during the Avengers event. Because we have Sousa, who pretty much appeared in the original Avengers, so technically they could explain why the actor is there as well. It is the moment Coulson passed away. We have a good chance to get a cameo from at least Nick Fury, who was in the first episode as well.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see that it becomes a point where Coulson decides... I kind of have the feeling all these changes, we were discussing this before the podcast, where sometimes these changes have a moment to reflect on the future, like the moment with Koenig, the reason becoming an LMD researcher in his family, but then you also have these moments like the Insight Project coming 40 years early that don't match with the future. So I think by the end of the story, they're going to streamline everything. What would be fun, I think the Avengers aspect would be a great approach. And I kind of could see them integrate the Loki Disney Plus series. Because he's going to be about dimension travel, time travel. Wouldn't it be funny or ironic that Coulson, everything's fixed by the guy who killed him in the original Avengers? Especially because it's that version of the character as well.
Yeah, and whatever happens, I want to see a clear MCU connection by the end of the series. That's my big wish for the series. Because you're ending the show, at least show something.
Yeah, and I think it's a great send-off. Now that Feige's involved, I think the chances are much higher. They got characters from Agent Carter. We still haven't seen Agent Carter, which is still interesting.
Yeah, very weird.
And I think that kind of ending, especially just playing on how this entire show started, would be a great meta-narrative, while also being a great tribute to pretty much... We need something about the future of the MCU, like we discussed, and I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as much as people say it's not canon, etc., I think elements of it are to some degree.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff, they work together a lot. They got the assets they needed from Marvel Studios, and at least some kind of tribute to where the show takes place. That would be fantastic.
Let's move on now. There's another reveal during that episode. So it's about Gemma Simmons. All this time, there have been theories going around that Simmons is either an LMD, a Chronicom, a cyborg, which is weird, or even a Skrull. I saw one theory online that she's a Skrull for some reason. Don't know where that came from. So apparently, those theories are incorrect, all of it. In reality, that device, that blinking red thingy at the back of her head, of her neck, sorry, it's a memory inhibitor chip that's been inserted into her willingly, so that the chief purpose of that is to ensure that Fit's whereabouts remain a secret. What do you think of that reveal? I think it makes sense, right?
It makes sense. It was a great little red herring last episode with it being exactly where the three lights, and it's exactly where she jacked the one guy. I think it makes sense. Her being a Chronicom, I think, would have been a reach to some degree, or at least it opens the question. But it does answer the question: how they knew to use this technology. Yes, they invented it technically in the future through the obelisks, but it gives us a reason why they're hanging on to the Chronicoms.
Yeah.
And I like the connection that it builds up, especially with where is Fitz. Like this showcases that whatever he's doing, wherever he is, it's extremely important. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the Chronicom's mothership somewhere.
Yeah, that's been your theory in the past few weeks. I've been hearing it from you in the past several episodes. In a very, very, very interesting theory that he's inside the enemy ship.
It's going to be interesting, and I'm very curious if we finally get the reveal next episode, probably in a post-credit sequence. Most likely in post-credit sequence.
Most likely, yeah. But I missed Fitz already. He's an integral part of the show, and it's I would understand that he's gone for like episode 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. But in the past few seasons, he always returns at this mark, at this 6th episode mark. He always returns at this one, and it's pretty weird that we haven't seen him yet. And technically, we are in the mid-season because the season is only on 13 episodes, so we are in the mid-season now. And it's, oh man, come on, guys.
Crazy.
Yeah, so next up on our bullet is a tragedy. Mac's parents are revealed to be Chronicoms, and that emotional reveal was gut-wrenching for many. Yeah, and seeing your parents, here's the thing. One is knowing your parents died, and the other is the one that you're with are imposters. Those are two really hard facts to go into while in the midst of inside a plane when we're fighting all these alien robots. What do you think of that reveal?
Heart-wrenching. That was actually heart-wrenching because it's, first of all, seeing Mac, who's always been like this rough and tough. He's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He saw his mother, hugged her randomly. Like, that guy turned into a little teddy bear as soon as he saw or recognized his mother. And, like, the episode is like this entire, they'll get away, they'll save them. And him bonding with it. And then you slowly start to realize, wait a minute, why is May with them? Why did they highlight that they can steal personalities? And then the moment you see her look after being touched, you're like, oh no. It's heart-wrenching, especially when he starts saying they've been dead for a long time. Like, how long has this been happening? The worst part to me, what I don't quite understand is that they obviously have their rules in time travel. So they could have gone out of the way to kill Mac. So a lot of the future fate, like Mac is an integral aspect of what happens. But they left them alone as kids. And I find that rather interesting. or if the Chronicoms are just that much of, they're such dicks that they knew just to screw over the team. Maybe the ending where he pretty much drives off for a little bit, maybe that was all calculated because they do have that future seer on their team.
Yeah, and they know what will happen. That's the bad thing. And also another bad thing is these Chronicoms are evolving, Joe. They know how to show emotions now, which is scary.
I love that. I do love the fact that they stole it off of Coulson. Like, this was not something they randomly discovered. They just realized, wait a minute. Coulson.
Coulson, what's happening? Like, they're mimicking him in a way. Wow, they're good. They're really good.
I read the theory that a lot of people think that Simmons will return in this episode due to the connection he has with Mac, which I think they haven't really explored in a while. The thing that I kind of love is the preview. Like, I was thinking for a while, a lot of the episodes are tributes to things. You know, the 70s were the funky aspect, especially even though this episode kind of was detached from that. Mm-hmm. But like, I was like, didn't Mac say he hated robots? And he was a big fan of like 80s, 90s robot films. And then I saw that teaser and I'm like, oh my God, they're going all in on that.
There are a lot of robots there, you know, and also that reveal of Coulson guiding them through a monitor, through a computer screen.
Especially with that 80s background that was like, it was a Stranger Things-esque design.
Yeah.
Just Coulson in it, that was hilarious.
And the backdrop, the lighting, it's very 80s, man.
But I have to say, Mac's beard looks really fake.
oh yeah, I had to point that out. And the funny thing about this show is last season 5 rather. Now we've also seen a similar episode like this. You know, when Hunter and Fitz, there's like a buddy cop sort of episode. Like they're doing Hunter trying to help out Fitz to the lighthouse. Well, we're trying to get us in a way. We're trying to get a similar sense in which Simmons and Deke, who doesn't see eye to eye in the past few episodes, are now trapped together in one episode in one timeline. And how do you think that the dynamic will evolve into this episode?
I like it, especially because it comes after this episode's where he's like, "Oh, I shot Malik," where they had that confrontation, and the fact that Zeke was the one to run after him, I thought was really nice because it's like, I know what he's going through. So I hope that this is the moment they really grow together.
Really, really.
And I can really see that.
Yeah. And I really hope one more thing, Joe. Fitz, come on, show up. Episode 7. Episode 7 ready. Please show up. I'm begging you guys. Let him show up. Do you have the same thought that he will show up this episode?
Definitely. I'm hoping. I kind of, if they do it, I hope it's a cheesy entrance now. If they're in the 80s, embrace the 80s. He comes out of nowhere. I'm here to help.
Welcome to level 7, like the Agent Coulson reveal in the first episode. Oh my God.
Yeah, that fits that era.
All right. And that's about wrap it up for, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Season Pass. Please do watch it again. The upcoming episodes is this Thursday. Oh, in our time, but Wednesday on the US. So, okay, that has been episode 26 of the MCUExchange podcast. Please do follow us on Facebook. No, we don't have a Facebook account now. Please do follow us on Twitter. That's twitter.com/MCUExchange. We do post some very interesting MCU content in a while now. And also, please do follow me on Twitter. That's twitter.com/AaronChino, AeronChi. I know you can also follow Joe on Twitter.
@thatabel, THATABERL.
You can also follow Charles on Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter @CFSBillionWeb.
All right, and that's about wrapping up. This is episode 26. For more information, please do go to our website, www.mcuexchange.com. Please stay safe, everyone, and that's a wrap.
Bye.
Stay safe.